Welcome to District Command Central, your go-to source for the latest news and updates on the Washington Commanders. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you never miss a play. In Ashburn, Virginia, the story of the Washington Commanders season cannot be told without centering it around Jayden Daniels, because what was supposed to be a clear step forward his second year as an NFL quarterback instead became a frustrating, fragmented journey that left everyone asking what might have been. Year two is traditionally when young quarterbacks settle in, slow the game down, and begin to show whether they truly belong as long-term leaders of a franchise. For Daniels, that opportunity never fully arrived, not because of a lack of preparation or confidence, but because the season itself kept slipping through his fingers every time momentum began to build, and as the Commanders struggled collectively, his own development became tangled in the same downward spiral. Daniels entered the year with expectations shaped by his impressive rookie campaign, one that had earned him the league's Offensive Rookie of the Year honors and positioned him as a cornerstone of Washington's rebuild. Instead of building on that foundation, his sophomore season turned into a stop-start experience defined by injuries and missed chances to finish games. He technically started 7 games for Washington, fewer only than Marcus Mariota, who started 8, but the raw number does not tell the whole story. Daniels managed to finish only 4 of those 7 starts, and 3 times he was forced to leave the field early after taking hits that once again highlighted how thin the margin is between fearless playmaking and physical vulnerability at the professional level. When a quarterback cannot consistently finish games, rhythm suffers, timing with receiver stalls, and confidence, even when still present internally, struggles to show itself on film. Offensive coordinator Cliff Kingsbury put words to that frustration with a striking honesty that stood out in a league where coaches often choose careful optimism over blunt assessments. When asked how he would grade Daniels' season, Kingsbury did not dress it up or hide behind platitudes. He simply called it incomplete, a word that perfectly captures both the statistical reality and the emotional weight of the year. Kingsbury acknowledged that injuries are an unfortunate part of the game, but his comments also carried the subtext of regret, because Daniels never truly got the chance to display growth on the field or to sustain progress over time. For a quarterback still writing the early chapters of his career, an incomplete season feels less like a failure and more like a pause button being hit at the worst possible moment. Despite all of that, Daniels did show flashes that suggest his trajectory has not been derailed, only delayed. Even without ever fully finding his legs this season, he still completed more than 60% of his passes, maintained a respectable touchdown pass rate, and showed measurable improvement in his decision-making. His interception percentage dropped to 1.6%, down from 1.9% the previous year, a small but meaningful sign that the game continues to slow down for him mentally, even when circumstances prevent him from executing physically at full capacity. His sack percentage also dipped slightly, reinforcing the idea that he is learning how to balance his natural instincts with the need to protect himself, an ongoing challenge for quarterbacks who thrive on extending plays. Kingsbury, almost defensively, reminded everyone that Daniels had played in all 19 games the previous year, suggesting that this season was less about recklessness and more about the randomness of football collisions. There is a razor-thin line between staying healthy and getting injured in the NFL, especially for a quarterback whose style invites contact. That perspective matters because it reframes the conversation away from blaming Daniels for his injuries and toward understanding that development is not always linear. Sometimes growth happens quietly, in film rooms and meeting rooms, even when the scoreboard and stat sheets do not fully reflect it. Looking ahead, the first priority for Daniels this offseason is obvious and unavoidable: getting healthy. Without that, nothing else truly matters. But beyond rehab and recovery, there are concrete steps he can take to ensure that when he returns in the following season, he is not merely picking up where he left off, but actively elevating his command of the offense. Kingsbury has been vocal about one area he hopes Daniels embraces, and it involves following the blueprint laid out by some of the greatest quarterbacks the league has ever seen. The idea is simple but powerful: take ownership of the offseason by organizing throwing sessions and workouts with receivers and tight ends, building chemistry away from the facility when the spotlight is off. Kingsbury pointed to legends like Tom Brady, who famously brought teammates to Montana, and Patrick Mahomes, who regularly hosts his skill players in Texas. Those extra reps, those informal moments of timing and trust, often translate directly to smoother execution on Sundays. For Daniels, that time on task was limited this year, particularly with his top receiver Terry McLaurin. Injuries and circumstances conspired to keep them from logging meaningful reps together, and it showed. Kingsbury openly admitted how difficult it is to maximize an offense when quarterback and primary receiver are not consistently sharing the field, learning each other's tendencies in real time. In hindsight, additional offseason work might have helped bridge the gap created by McLaurin's training camp holdout, though even that would not have solved the injury problems that limited the duo to just 2 full games together. Still, those lost opportunities underscore how fragile offensive continuity can be and how quickly a season can slip away when timing never quite locks in. For a young quarterback, those lessons can be painful, but they can also be invaluable if properly absorbed. Hovering over all of this is uncertainty about the coaching staff, as reports suggest Kingsbury himself may not be the coordinator guiding Daniels into his 3rd year. For any quarterback, especially one still early in his career, a potential change in scheme raises legitimate concerns. Learning new terminology, adapting to different philosophies, and building trust with a new play caller all take time. History, however, offers reassurance. Quarterbacks like Joe Montana and Tom Brady navigated multiple systems over their careers, and adaptability became part of what defined their greatness. Daniels has shown a similar mental resilience, embracing challenges rather than shrinking from them, and there is little indication that a coordinator change alone would be enough to derail his progress. Incomplete seasons, frustrating as they are, still carry lessons, and this one may ultimately shape Daniels more than a smooth, healthy year ever could. If he can extract those lessons, refine his approach, and return fully healthy, his 3rd season has the potential not just to be complete, but to surpass even the heights of his remarkable rookie campaign. The foundation is still there, waiting to be built upon, provided circumstances finally allow continuity to take hold. While the focus remains on the quarterback position, Washington also made quieter roster moves that reflect the constant churn at the bottom of an NFL depth chart. The Commanders elevated wide receiver River Crocraft and defensive tackle Ricky Barber for the final week of the season, a reminder that opportunity in this league often comes unexpectedly and sometimes briefly. Crocraft's journey, in particular, reads like a testament to perseverance. An undrafted free agent out of Washington State, he signed with Denver years ago, was released with an injury settlement, returned to the taxi squad, bounced between practice squads, and eventually found himself with multiple organizations before landing in Washington. His path took him through Philadelphia, San Francisco, Miami, and Seattle, often on futures contracts and short-term deals, always fighting for a foothold. In the current season, Crocraft appeared in 1 game for the Commanders, but did not record any statistics. Yet even that appearance represents the culmination of years spent grinding on the margins of the league. For players like him, every elevation is a reminder that persistence can keep a career alive even when stability remains elusive. All of these threads, from Daniels' incomplete season to the quiet perseverance of role players, weave together into a broader picture of a franchise still searching for consistency. The Commanders are not devoid of talent or hope, but progress has been uneven, interrupted by injuries, uncertainty, and transition. As the offseason begins, the focus will rightly return to health, continuity, and clarity of direction. For Jayden Daniels, the story is far from finished, and the next chapter may ultimately redefine how this challenging year is remembered, not as a setback, but as a crucial turning point on the path toward long-term success. If you're enjoying the coverage, make sure to smash that like button and drop a comment with your thoughts on the Commanders' latest moves. We want to hear from you. In a move that has sent shockwaves through the league and left fans buzzing with anticipation, the Washington Commanders have apparently made a blockbuster decision that could redefine the trajectory of their franchise for years to come. Word on the street, sources whispering from inside the organization, is that they have secured the highly touted Arll Ree in a deal that has placed him firmly within the top 10 of the upcoming draft. While the front office has maintained a measured public stance, the undercurrent suggests that this is more than a simple acquisition. This is a statement, a bold declaration that the Commanders are not just aiming to rebuild. They're signaling a revolution under the strategic guidance of Dan Quinn, the head coach whose reputation for turning teams into disciplined, ferocious units precedes him. Those who follow Quinn's career closely understand that when he identifies a talent, he does not merely integrate the player into a system. He crafts an identity around them. And the murmurs are clear. Arll Ree is being positioned as the new Parsons, a player whose skill set, tenacity, and football intelligence could mirror the transformative impact that previous defensive standouts have had in the league. Reese, whose college performances have been nothing short of electrifying, comes with the kind of hype that can simultaneously excite and intimidate. Analysts who have tracked his journey highlight a combination of raw athleticism and cerebral understanding of the game, noting that he seems to anticipate plays in a manner almost beyond his years. There is speculation that Quinn, known for his defensive acumen, sees in Reese the potential to anchor a new era of Commanders football. Comparisons to Parsons, who redefined expectations at his position with a blend of versatility, speed, and strategic awareness, are rampant, though there is a cautious optimism in the way insiders phrase it. They hint that Reese possesses a certain instinctual quality, a capacity to read offenses before they materialize, paired with a relentless drive that aligns perfectly with Quinn's philosophy. It is this combination, they claim, that makes the top 10 selection more than just a high-value draft pick. It could be the cornerstone of a defensive resurgence that has long eluded the Commanders. The narrative emerging from the league is one of strategic audacity. Historically, teams that reach into the top 10 for defensive prospects are seeking immediate impact players, and the Commanders appear to be doing exactly that, but with a vision that extends beyond short-term gains. There's a sense among commentators that this move is part of a larger blueprint orchestrated by Quinn, who has always demonstrated a willingness to trust in potential and cultivate it into dominance. Rumors suggest that the coaching staff has spent countless hours reviewing tape, dissecting every aspect of Reese's game, and envisioning scenarios where his skill set could dictate the tempo and identity of the defense. Sources close to the organization have even hinted that internal conversations compare Reese not only to Parsons, but to some of the league's most legendary defensive figures, underscoring the belief that his ceiling may be extraordinarily high. The idea that a single player could influence not just a position group, but an entire defensive culture is bold, but with Quinn at the helm, it is not outside the realm of possibility. Fans, naturally, are already crafting their own narratives, with social media ablaze with speculation and analysis. There is a palpable excitement, tinged with a cautious recognition that the weight of expectations can be heavy. Reese's presence in the top 10 suggests that the Commanders are not content to rebuild quietly. They're signaling ambition, a willingness to chase excellence and embrace the pressure that comes with it. It is the kind of move that forces analysts to rethink draft strategies and forecast models, challenging conventional wisdom. Continue to dominate conversation. While some caution against premature hype, insiders emphasize that Reese's skill set, characterized by speed, instinct, and an uncanny ability to read the field, mirrors the traits that made Parsons a transformative figure. Yet, there's also a recognition that Reese is his own player, with unique attributes that could allow him to carve out a distinct legacy. The Commanders, it seems, are betting on potential, trusting that Quinn's leadership can accelerate the development of a player whose ceiling may rival the league's elite. In this light, the top 10 pick is more than a draft maneuver. It is a statement of intent, an announcement to the league that the Commanders are prepared to compete at the highest level and that they believe they have found a cornerstone around which a dominant defensive identity can be built. Even beyond the confines of Washington, The ripple effects of this move are being felt across the league. Rival teams are reportedly recalculating strategies, weighing potential matchups, and reassessing how to counter a player who is being positioned as both a disruptor and a leader. The aura surrounding REESE, amplified by the whispers of his new Parsons comparison, has already begun to influence narratives about the upcoming season, highlighting how a single acquisition can generate strategic and psychological impacts that extend far beyond the draft room. Fans, commentators, and analysts alike are drawn into the speculation, imagining scenarios in which REESE could dominate games, elevate teammates, and perhaps even reshape perceptions of what the Commanders represent on the defensive front. In the end, what makes this story so compelling is the intersection of talent, vision, and ambition. The Commanders, under Dan Quinn, appear to be orchestrating more than just a roster upgrade. They're crafting a narrative, a journey that seeks to transform potential into legacy. Arll Ree, positioned as the top 10 selection and the new Parsons in whispered circles, is at the heart of that story, a figure whose every move will be watched, analyzed, and debated. Whether he ultimately fulfills the lofty expectations remains uncertain. Yet the excitement and intrigue surrounding his arrival are undeniable. The speculation alone has reinvigorated a fan base, sparked endless debate, and signaled to the league that the Commanders are a team to watch. In the coming months, all eyes will be on REESE, and the narrative that has begun with whispers and rumors may well become one of the defining chapters of a franchise on the rise. The question now, as insiders continue to speculate and fans dream of possibilities, is whether Arll Ree can live up to the monumental comparisons, carve out his own legend, and help Dan Quinn transform the Commanders into the defensive powerhouse that so many believe they are destined to become. Thanks for tuning into District Command Central. Make sure to subscribe and follow us for all the Commanders news you need. Until next time, keep the faith and hail to the Commanders.